Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, from here in the Mvskoke Media Studios as we get ready for this week's episode. You know, another thing we're getting ready for here around Mvskoke Media is the Christmas season. We all hope that you all are ready to have a great holiday. One of the things I want to remind everybody about is the importance of giving during the Christmas season. And one of the ways that we do that here at Mvskoke Media is we adopt an angel. This year we adopted 3 angels off of our Children and Family Services here at Mvskoke Creek Nation, their angel tree. And the kids are on the tree. They have a wish list, what they would like from Santa. You can go over there, pick it out, and make sure that a kid that is in need this year will have a good Christmas. So that's a wonderful thing that they do over there at Children and Family Services. Been doing it for several years now. We are so glad to be a part of it at Mvskoke Media. And as I said, we took 3 angels off the tree, making sure those 3 get a great Christmas. And I hope all the angels have been taken off the tree. And if they aren't, go over there and check them out and give a kid a great Christmas this year. Well, as I said, we have a great episode lined up for you today. If you remember in the news recently, a large contingent of Native American veterans gathered together, all veterans really, but a large contingent of Native veterans made the trip up to Standing Rock. We have 2 Mvskoke Creek veterans that made the trip. They came back and wanted to share their story with us. Actually, one of these guys that's going to be in our story today was a part of a viral video going across the bridge, making peace with the law enforcement officers there at Standing Rock. So we'll have that. Also, we will have a special in-studio guest. Indian sports editor and co-founder Brent Cahwee is with us. So Indiansports.com will be talking about that right after this first break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
It's more than just an associate degree. It's a life-changing experience.
You'll see a lot of cultural features here on the campus. You'll see a symbol of the mound, which goes back to the history of Mvskoke people as being in that Mississippian time period, that mound building society. That really welcomes our students whenever they first get here.
The college in itself is beyond the building, is the people.
They're passionate, very passionate about what they teach, and it shows whenever they're teaching.
The instructors and the administration, they really believe in their students here.
After a couple classes, I began to notice that it kind of felt as if I were returning back to something that has been lost for like a long time. As I learned more about the history of my people, to discover that there were very many great people that did a lot of good things for their people, for their nations, and that those people were American Indian and Native American, it kind of brings out a sense of pride that was not really there before.
There is a future for our people.
Looking for your next 18-hole adventure? Then take a look at Fountainhead Creek Golf Club. Nestled in the beautiful confines of Lake Eufaula State Park, large sloping greens and well-placed bunkers characterize the Mvskoke Creek Nation's Floyd Farley designed course and offers a fine test of skill for any golfer. Stay up on all the latest gear and equipment with a visit to our pro shop. Have lunch at the Turn at the Clubhouse Grill. We're waiting to accommodate you at Fountainhead Creek. Give us a call at 918-689-3209 or visit fountainheadgolf.com to book your next round. Fountainhead Creek Golf Club, close to home, far from ordinary.
We believe if you teach a man to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. We believe that transitioning convicted citizens back into our communities enhances public safety. We believe that every citizen, even ex-prisoners, are important and are capable of change. We believe in reclaiming our citizens and investing them back into a culture that embraces healing and restoration.
We believe
in reintegration.
And welcome back to Native News Today as we get started with our features for this week. And as I said a while ago, the first thing up this week is an in-studio that we actually filmed a little bit earlier today with Brent Cahwee. He is the co-founder and the editor of Indiansports.com. It's actually your one-stop shop for all things Native athletes. He covers them not only from high school, but all the way to the pros. We got professional athlete Native Americans out there that take part in all kinds of things in the community, and they get a swell of support from Native Americans out there that know about them, follow them, and go to their respective contests to cheer them on. So Brent Cahwee and we got a little bit of a history. Used to host the Native Sports Rush television show together. Gerald Wofford, and Eric Bailey. So it was great to have him back in studio, and great to get him to stop by Native News Today to share with us all the great things going on at Indiansports.com these days, here with Brent Cahwee. All right, we're lucky to be in studio now with the co-founder and editor of Indiansports.com, Mr. Brent Cahwee. Brent, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me, Jason.
Well, Brent, this is the first time I've really had you in this studio set, but you're certainly no stranger to me or our operations. You and I, of course, along with Gerald Wofford, Eric Bailey, for a short time there with the Native Sports Rush television program, but we had a good time with that. But it's always good to see you again and have you back in studio.
Thanks, Jason. It's always great to come back and talk some sports talk with you.
Yeah.
Kind of give you a heads up what's going on in Indian country with a lot of our Native American athletes.
And we've got a lot going on around Indian country with our Native American athletes. We'll get specifically around here a little bit later. But first off, just some of the stuff that you all are covering. It's so great because on Indiansports.com you can see things that you're not going to see anywhere else. So you go on there and find out that there are these Native kids all across the country doing wonderful things sports-wise. You cover high school, you cover college, you've even covered some younger kids, and then on into the major leagues by representing and identifying the Native Americans that are at that level. So you guys do a little bit of everything, and it's a great resource on that site. I'll ask you, Brent, one of the stories that stuck out to me the most here recently was Bronson Koenig. Mm-hmm. Of course, you guys have been on him for a while, about 3 years now, of course, with the Wisconsin, University of Wisconsin college basketball player. He's one of the pivotal players on the team, and he's actually Ho-Chunk from Nebraska, but he made a trip recently to Standing Rock that you guys covered. Brent, tell us a little bit about that story.
Yeah, that was just an awesome experience that Bronson, he went with his brother Miles, mm-hmm. and a trainer that Bronson's been working with, Clint Parks. They had been monitoring the issue from afar for a while, and then Bronson felt like he needed to go there and be a part of that and just have his presence to assist in any way, because he's one of the more, not only is he a Native American Ho-Chunk athlete, he's also a famous athlete in general. Yeah. He's been to 2 Final Fours with the Wisconsin Badgers, so he wanted to use his notoriety to bring the issue to light, right. With his famous background. So he got there and they did a camp for the kids at the gym, and he also had some other Native American athletes that play college ball too help him, like Jalen Two Bears, she plays at the University of Milwaukee, and then he also had Morning Rose Toby from the University of Nevada. So he had some other Native American athletes there helping him as well.
I'm glad you name dropped there because, like we said earlier in the introduction, so many Native athletes out there at these colleges, and you pay attention and you see, and we certainly saw in our own backyard in our area the furor that was created by the Schimmel sisters. They just came in like a wave, and this swell of support came up amongst Indian country from all over. Tribes gathered. And it was a sort of a gathering. It was a thing that brought a lot of different tribes together, much like Standing Rock. But this was just to see the talent, and you see that in our own backyard now. We've got another pair of sisters, the Beatties, right here at ORU.
Yeah, Lakota and Ashley Beta, who were famous stars at Anadarko High School. They went to a state champion and won a state championship. Lakota graduated high school first, and she ended up at OSU for a year. And before she decided to transfer to Oral Roberts University, where she joined her sister. She had to sit out a year last year for NCAA transfer rules, but this year was her first year. And I had a chance to visit with her at a game recently, and I just asked her, how's it feel to be back on the court? And she was just like, she couldn't express how happy she was to be back and playing. And you see it now. Last week she played against OU and scored 20 points on them, and they upset OU. And then the most recent game that they had, Lakota scored 18 and her sister Ashley scored 11. Wow. So these two sisters are back on the court, and they talked about knowing where each other is at on the court, and just playing so many years together that they know how to play with each other.
Very similar to the Schimmel sisters in that regard, because I remember them in their interviews saying how they sort of instinctually knew each other's games and everything like that. I know you're covering pro athletes as well, from... we always talk about Jacoby when you and I get together, Jacoby Ellsbury, but there's others as well in the pro ranks that you're following.
Yeah, right now in the NFL we have some Native American athletes that play at the pro. Of course, Sam Bradford, with the Vikings, and the things he's been doing there recently, coming to a tough situation, but he's making the best of it. And then we also have James Winchester, who's from the Choctaw Nation, he's the long snapper for the Kansas City Chiefs.
You guys recently did a feature on him too. I didn't mean to, but I want you to talk about that because I want people to go to the site and see that. But you guys really had an interesting feature on a tragic situation for James here recently.
Yeah, I have an intern writer. His name's Tyler Jones, who you featured on your show before, and he's a student at the University of Kansas and Haskell Indian Nations University. And he went to cover a game recently, this past weekend actually, or the past Thursday, I mean, and he was able to visit with James after the game and just talk about the support that he's gotten from OU, the fans, the Chiefs organizations, about the tragedy that happened with his father. And so, he was really excited that everyone was concerned about his situation.
Showing the support.
Yeah.
And a lot of these guys too, you run into this a lot, but a lot of these guys too, you're covering them. Some of these that are a little bit taken aback by the support from Indian country. It's almost like overwhelming for them because they're representing a people.
Right. Yeah, and that's just one of the great things about the website is what it does is, people who may not have known about these athletes now, they become big fans. They may not like the sports team, but they're going to support the athlete.
Right.
And like here in Oklahoma, it's probably a big Sooner-based type fan. But then we have a Native American athlete at Oklahoma State, in Lindy Waters, who's from the Kiowa Cherokee tribe. But we have people who are normal Sooner fans. Now they're following the Cowboys.
I'm sorry, Lindy. I just can't do it. No, I mean, you're right, though. I saw him last year in the state championship game, the thunderous dunk. And, Lindy is, of course, it's odd because he's at OSU and his father for many years is very involved in Native American Student Association and the likes at OU, of course. But that's a neat little story in of itself. Maybe kind of a house divided type of deal. But it's neat to see him there. And actually, Oklahoma State, I think the other night wore the Nike N7 uniforms.
Right. Yeah. The Nike N7 program. Has about 9 schools this year where they had an N7, like a Native American Heritage Night game for some of the colleges. And of course, Oklahoma State was one of those colleges that was chosen, both the men's and women's team. And the ORU team was selected late, but next year they'll be wearing the turquoise uniforms as well. Very
cool. And speaking of Nike and the N7 opportunities that they're creating, and really Nike linking up, a lot of it, I got to give props to Sam McCracken, of course, being Native American himself, but Nike really joining up with the Native American community here recently in the last 10 years or so with N7, but also you went up there recently, and even some celebrities, some famous musicians are getting behind the movement.
Yeah. I had a chance to go to the campus a few months ago, and I had a chance to interview Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas, because he's one of their new ambassadors. And I was talking to Sam and Taboo about, this new synergy that they're trying to move forward with. But, Nike has always been like a sports-related type brand. But with the addition of Taboo, what they're looking at is moving into the arts as well. And he represents that musician and artist and dancer type background. So they want to incorporate people from those backgrounds into the N7 program.
Great, man. I know that there's going to be lots of great news coming from that organization as it continues to grow. Like you said, ORU adding. I didn't even know that. I'm glad you mentioned it here with us today. But a great job that you do, Brent, following all these athletes and all of this news. And we certainly love having you in whenever you're in the area. I just saw you were in Tulsa, and I was like, man, come on down. So it's good to see you, and I appreciate all the hard work you're doing on Indiansports.com.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
And thanks once again to Brent Cahwee for stopping in with us here in the Native News Today studio to talk about what he's got going on with the website. Give it a visit, check it out, see all the stories they have going on. Follow some of those Native athletes out there that you might not have known are doing big things on the sports scene. Now it's transitioning to our next feature. As I said earlier in the opener, a large contingent of veterans going up to Standing Rock and were there when they made the announcement of the easement not being granted to that project from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So a great time to be up there and a lot of veterans on hand. Two of our Mvskoke Creek veterans, that'd be Philip Bernarski and Andrew Lowe, went up to Standing Rock together and then made their way back. And we wanted to tell their story. We wanted to get for them to tell us the story of what it was like to be there. And so we provide you that now exclusively right here on Native News Today.
My name is Philip Bernarski. I'm Creek Seminole, Cherokee.
My name's Andrew Lowe. I live in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, and Mvskoke Creek Seminole.
The first time was just God gave me a dream. I knew I told my wife, and she knew too. So that was the first time, and the second time, I really didn't know how I was going to go back. I just knew I was going to go back. And then next thing you know, me and Drew called, talked, and he was going, and I was going too.
I just felt that I had to go, and it was just something that, that I just felt I needed to do for the Indian people, And if I could just make some kind of difference, I was going to go, and I was going to go it alone. But I had saw Mr. Bernarski here on Facebook that he didn't know how he was going back. He wanted to go back, and he didn't know how he was going to, and so I kind of felt that, that he could travel with me, and I contacted him, and everything worked out just fine. So. It was very moving. It was something that I haven't seen since with all the vets there and everything. It was awesome because when I was overseas, we were getting ready to go to Cuba, and that's the first time that I come together with brothers, doing something for people, and that's kind of effect it had on me, It was really uplifting, that I could maybe do something for somebody, so that was my part of it.
I joined the Marine Corps after 9/11, and even that time I knew there was a calling to serve the people. And as tribal members too, we understand we're to protect.
We both walked across, and we met with the people on the other side, and he was telling them, about God, how he looked down on us, and that we should all be equal, and not doing this, sort of thing, and they agreed, they. Yeah,
one of them was a Marine.
Yeah, he was a Marine, and they acknowledged us. And they said when we start walking back that they were going to pull out too. So I didn't know that's what was going to happen, but I looked back and they were all moving out.
Them them to stop it right now. That's good. It is good. But will it? They'll try to continue. Yes, of course, they're gonna try to continue, whether they hurt them or not. And with the new presidency, do I see a chance? You know, I don't know how to tell the future. I can't tell the future, but I know God can change a man's heart. And at the same time, though, there's still evil in this world that, well, it does try to hurt people. That's what its purpose is.
In my mind, I kind of think it's going to be reversed. I don't think this is over. But they're talking about, if this happens, you know, we're going back. And people have asked me, said, would you go back? And I said, in a heartbeat. So that's what we were talking about when we were coming down, you know. So if they call us again, or, you know, if we can do something, we're going again. So.
Government's supposed to be the voice for the people. That's why we elect them into office. So if they're not going to uphold what their people want, then who will? They'll just do whatever they want. And that's why we went. We're veterans. We serve. We know what it is to protect what we're doing. I mean, what our calling is, and it's not to hurt people, but to protect them. Government, I don't know how they make their choices. I don't, but I know we're called to pray for them. But as far as the way they do things and operate, I don't see the good in it at times.
I think this issue here has opened up a lot of people's eyes that we're not going to stand still anymore. And that, this isn't happening just at that place, it's all over. It's everywhere. It has never been so seen like that before, because it hasn't been out there like that. But now, I look at my Facebook and I look at it, all these other Indian countries that are under the same thing that these people are, but they just haven't been recognized as this one has. But I'm sure now that the people are going to start looking, and it's not only just the Indians that's going to pay for all this stuff, that's everybody, it's affecting all their water, the environment, the climate. And I don't see how people cannot see this, even these guys that call themselves archaeologists and stuff. I don't see how they think that you'd think they'd zero in on something like this and try to protect the world, but it's not happening. And they're more or less hurting Mother Earth. And she's going to fight back,
We were talking about how it could be just the spearhead. Well, technology has opened up and people are starting to see what's going on with video. And it's part of that. If they won't recognize treaties or even up there like that, then what makes you say the government will recognize treaties with us? Whether we have a good relationship or not, they can all, if it shows that they can overrun people and just do what they want to do without even bother asking them or sit down and talking about it, then what about the treaties here with us, or any laws that we have to do with the government? So I know that we have attorneys, or tribes have attorneys. I would like to see for them to get together and start to figure out things, because these type of things are coming, and it's blatant now. Everybody can see it, so just prepare. The things that we do as adults in this country, the children are watching us. They're watching us, and we're the example. And what I've seen up there is not a good example. They say up there that Mvskoke, that's water is life. That's big, because it's for everyone. Water's for everyone. We all know that. So it's just not a native issue. No, it's bigger than that.
Nobody can live without water. We got to have water, and I hope these people understand that. But I think they believe more in money than they do for water. In the morning you got to get up, you got to brush your teeth, you got to use water, you can make coffee, you use water, you clean yourself and it's water. What happens if the water isn't good anymore? What are they gonna do? Then they're gonna be rushing around trying to filter out all the bad water, and you'll have to boil your water in the morning to take a shower. And there's people that do that right now. Just like Flint, Michigan. They say that's our next objective, to go there and maybe see what we can do there. And those people, their water is poisoned already. And they have to live like that every day. So I'm just hoping people wake up and see that. Just not us, not just indigenous people. People from around the world to see that water is life.
Okay, that'll wrap us up for another episode of Native News Today. We want to thank everybody out there for watching us. As I said, a reminder, it's the Christmas season. We want to give. We want to make sure all the kids out there have a great Christmas. And one way to do that is to stop by the Mvskoke Creek Nation's angel tree at the Children and Family Services. We adopted 3 angels ourselves from Mvskoke Media. So we're certainly doing our part and hope that everybody else out there can get a chance, if you're in the Almagi area, to go over and visit them. Also, just keep your eye open for toy drives, things like that. Reintegration program from Mvskoke Creek Nation just had an event, a toy drive event that they put on. Several others are having toy drive events as well. So just keep your eyes open out there. Every kid deserves a good Christmas with the gift, and it's so fun for them. So we love to be able to provide the information for you to do that. So once again, thank all the people that made the show happen this week. Brent Cahwee, IndianSports.com founder and editor, stopping in, co-founder. I don't want to leave out my man, John Harjo. He may get mad at me. I don't know if he's watching this anymore, but John, co-founder as well. But does a great job with that site, has kept it going for many, many years, while also taking care of some business up there at Haskell Indian Nations University. And also to Andrew Lowe, Philip Bernarski, stopping in with us and talking about their journey and going up to Standing Rock as a veteran, that sense of duty, that sense of protection that they want to provide, going up there and coming back and relaying what they saw, how they felt about their trip. Also, the future of that issue as well. They're very candid. I want to thank those guys for stopping in with us here at the headquarters and visiting with us on that issue. And we'll keep you advised on all of the developments as they come to us through the national news, things like that. And certainly an issue that's not over yet. We haven't seen the last of it, but we will continue to report on it here at Native News Today. We will continue to report on all things Mvskoke Creek Nation too. Go to MvskokeMedia.com to see all of our stories on there and check out our social media sites. We'll see you guys next time.